You think maybe I should turn my microphone on? Ugh, that was just spectacular. All right, guys, hopefully you're having a outstanding first day of the year. See, the thing is, here, let me see if I can do this. And you have to open it and you have to turn it on before you start the show. And I was having some problems, so I had rebooted before I did it, and I forgot to start that up, which is outstanding. Anyways, guys, I hope you're having a great day. The topic for tonight is going to be new beginnings. I have a couple things I want to mention, or a video I'm working on, but I'll talk a little bit about it. And so let me, before I jump into everything, jump into my normal stuff. I don't know if you guys noticed. Wow, it looks like my overlays aren't even working. So let me try. This is probably going to be really weird. And let me, well, just stand by one. There we go. So now I turned them on. I was also playing with something earlier to where I could turn off my my overlays. That's what happens when you have the day off and you're trying to figure new things out. So I got bouncing meters. I got green symbols on my stuff. It looks like everything's running. To start out, disclaimer: I am not a therapist. I am an individual much like yourself who went through a toxic divorce with kids and developed some tips and techniques that I share with you to hopefully help you have a little bit of a better time, just a little bit of a better time with your situation than I had with mine, and not having to beat your head against the wall to figure this stuff out on your own. So if that seems like that would be helpful for you or interesting, please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that bell notification so that YouTube will tell you about when I post videos with sound, maybe, and stuff like that. The other thing I always like to mention is diagnosis. Only a certified or licensed therapist clinician can make those diagnoses. So be careful whenever you're throwing terms around like he's a narcissist or she's a borderline, because you kind of get yourself into trouble whenever someone else is looking at it going, oh, wow, they have a diagnosis. And then you're like, well, no. And it just creates a problem. Absolutely learn about the terms. Learn about what it is. Learn about the patterns of behavior. And just be careful what you say around that, especially if you're dealing with court, because that could blow up in your face. There's been a few people that has happened to. And I want to make sure that you guys protect yourself and do not get yourself into any trouble. On that, or the last little part about that is if you would like to sign up for my newsletter, the Dad Surviving Divorce newsletter, you can do that over at dadsurvivingdivorce.com. There's an annoying dialogue that will pop up. Actually, let me see if I can make that pop up. Actually, I should check to make sure all my things are working. Let's see. Yep, audio's going. All righty. See, if you scroll down, you can sign up right there. I know I've been not so great with that lately. Whoa, crap, what did I do? I hit the wrong button. Oh, I went backwards. That's what I did. Hey, I hit the wrong button. Anyways, on that, so let's jump into kind of what I wanted to talk about with this. It's really bizarre because I was thinking about doing a new beginning video for the first day of the year. And I have this interesting story, which I'm trying to cut together the video on this right now to try to make it a little bit more interesting. And I'll do a short version of this story so that you guys can look out for the video. But bottom line is I get a notification on my phone. It goes beep, and it says somebody's at the door. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Typically if I put one of those, not a Ring doorbell, but a Simply Safe doorbell camera on the house, and if somebody walks up to it, it will notify my phone saying, hey, somebody's walking by your door. And if they ring the doorbell, it'll, tell me it rang. So I get this notification. Typically it happens when someone goes outside to go get the trash, or the, mailman delivers something or something like that. I finally look at it, and it's this lady with this measuring thing, measuring the front of the house. And I'm like, what is up with that? Ping the landlord. As it turns out, I might have to move. That's the short version of the story. Or I might have to buy a house. So, yeah, talk about new beginnings. I was anticipating some different things happening. I know 2019 is going to be an interesting year because my next child drops off. Child support goes down. Who knows what's going to, for the next kid? Who knows what the ex is going to try to do? So this year has always been a potentially contentious year. And as a result of that, this adds a whole nother dynamic to it that I'm a little tense about. So, yeah, because I did end up talking to my landlord or the guy who owns the house. What ended up happening is the guy who owns the house passed away. He was 94. His son is the head of the trust. This house that I'm in belonged to his father. There's a bunch of other siblings who want, their money or whatever. So something is going to change. So a little dynamic on that. So in a few months, I'll have to figure something out. Either my rent is significantly going to go up. That's one. I actually paid him, asked him if he could come pick up the check so I could talk to him. And bottom line is, it's either they're selling the house and I have to move, or the rent's going up significantly. So that is a huge bummer. It wasn't exactly what I was anticipating starting the year out with, and and like I said, I'll make another video about that. But bottom line is, what I want to hit on this before we drive into what you guys want to talk about is, a few years ago, if this would have happened, I would have been freaking out. Not to say that I wasn't tense and a little bit freaking out, because I'm like, oh crap. Yeah, Greg says, make an offer on the house fastest way. Well, see, Greg, I hear you, dude. And that's exactly kind of what I'm thinking about. But the problem is, oh, wait a minute, maybe you're talking to me. The problem is that I don't know if I qualify, right? I mean, I am still in a financial pickle. My income to debt ratio is really bad. My credit rating, like, every month goes up maybe 1 point. And it's really tough. So I am not absolutely sure that whenever I did reapplied for my Calvet loan. If you're prior service, you can do VA benefits, and in California they have a California Veterans Plan for purchasing a house. Applied for that, sent them all my information. If they come back and say, "Sorry, dude, you need to get your crap together," then I'm in a pickle, and I'll just have to figure it out. My point, what I wanted to get at though, is a few years ago I would have been devastatedly freaked out about this and just panicking. I'm a little bit was sick to my stomach yesterday because this is whenever most of this stuff came out, and whoa, that was interesting. I just had a really weird notice that came up, and I don't know where it came from, and it was super loud. That is bizarre. I don't know. Anyways, wow, weird. Anyways, so yeah, so I don't know. It makes it kind of tough as we go. As I farted, why it didn't quite sound like that. It sounded completely different. That's hilarious. So I appreciate it. Oh man, I wish I could leave. Anyways, all right, let me jump in to see who all is here. And whoops, let me get it on the right screen so I can scroll around. And Dan Ski's here. He was the first. Wow, he was here early. Hey, Dan says Happy New Year to everyone. Duane and group, awesome. Hey, Jeffrey's on. Says Happy New Year. Says what's up, guys? Got back with a wife a year ago. I remember that. I'm about ready to refile. Okay. Well, sometimes, okay, let me look and see what else is. All right, let me go look, see what else we have. We got Shay is on. Bluebell's here. Greg A. And Breaking Bombast. Hey, Breaking Bombast. Glad you could jump on. And Sheen Falk. Hey, Sheen. Sean, sorry. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the show. Rick Mash is on. Says, hi, Duane. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. You guys commenting on my no sound because I forgot to turn my sound on, like a knucklehead, like an amateur, like somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, or somebody who makes it so damn complicated that it's easy to forget a step here or there, which creates all kinds of problems. All right. Okay, so all right, let me go back. I want to look at this a little bit more. For Jeffrey. So happy. All right. Okay. Actually, let me just do a search so I can see if I can find you and see what happened. That is a bummer, dude. That I have growing hate too. So what happened? If you can say that, that's I mean, yeah, west we go. Okay. Yeah, you haven't been on in a while, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. So I'm assuming that the stepkids reared their head again, or did you just realize that they were not the source of it, and things just got weird? Okay, so then you switched. It looks like you switched back to your other name, to your other login. Okay, so let me go back, and I'll just grab you here. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to track everything. And here we go. Okay. All right, let me go back. Yeah, let me back. Come to New Orleans, be my roommate. All right. Okay, okay, so it's complicated because the 6 dogs you bought. All right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, dude. Here's the thing on this. Okay, wait a minute. She's crazy. She wanted me to drive her 25-year-old kid around. So it's the same stuff. Okay, so the stepkid is the main issue. 25 years old and won't drive. I am her private Uber, and just the normal stuff. I'm sorry, dude. Everybody has to. Okay, let me get back to my point. My point is that you have to get to the point that you can make the decision, right? And if things are changing or things are happening in a way to where you think, okay, well, they're saying the right things. They're saying they want to change, and they've done some things to demonstrate that it's true, and this is going to be different. Until you're ready to make that determination that I'm done, and oftentimes you have to go back to the well, so to speak, and get burned or stick your hand back on the hot plate. So, oh, nice. So it says okay, and so I sold a house, so the lawyer is holding $1 million in trust. I'm hoping that you mean that in a way to where it's protecting your money and stuff, as opposed to him just making it where you can't get it. I'm sorry to hear that. But anyways, getting back to my point is that whenever, you're struggling with this, I hope to God you guys realize, no, you can come to the realization of what is real early on to minimize any future damage that you are going to, or hurt that you're going to go through. Like I said, the problem is that you typically, you're not ready to make that determination until you're ready. I didn't go back with mine, but there were a handful of times where I'm like, well, this time it's different. She's going to be different this time. Oh, she's being nice. So maybe she's realized that this is a pain, and things are going to start to change. And it was just I'm trying to do a fishing pole. I'll use a pen. Where you're going, they're pulling you right back in to frickin' lay the hook, and it's really frustrating. But it took me a few times, and then I finally realized, okay, I'm tired of getting burned. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm done. I accept and realize the fact that this is a toxic relationship. This is not healthy for me, and if I stay there, nothing good is going to happen. So, oh, cool. It was inheritance. She cannot touch it. That is awesome. I did not realize that. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Just to throw this out here, if you have an ex who has an inheritance or got some property or a wad of money or a vehicle or something that is an inheritance that was left to them, it's off the table. I didn't realize that. I was thinking when my ex was being such a wonderful human being that I would go after some of the stuff that that she was going to get. It's like, well, if you're gonna attack me, I will attack you. And my attorney said, well, that's off the table. You can't do that. The only thing I did do, I was kind of being a butthead. Her father passed away, and she didn't get his motorcycle we bought the motorcycle. So when she was like, I want all my stuff, I want all the 50%, everything I'm entitled to. I don't know why I'm using that voice. That's a new voice. Anyways, so I'm like, okay, well, I want half the motorcycle. I want the motorcycle. And then she's like, well, why would you want that? I'm like, because you're being a freaking psycho, and I'm trying to get you to learn, which they won't learn, so it's irrelevant. I hope that laughing emoji is for me and my stupid voice. Voices. Let's see. Jim Cole says suddenly. Wait a minute. Actually, somebody. Unless you commingle the fund. Yeah, Greg says unless you commingle the fund. Yeah, absolutely. So if somebody gets $1 million and they drop it into the commingled account, and you guys mix it all up so you can't tell which is which, it creates problems. So now they'll still fight it though, right? I mean, if somebody got $1 million and they commingled it, and then you get a divorce, you can absolutely rest assured that they are going to spend everything they possibly can to minimize their losses on that. So, anyways. Greg says, mine keeps putting it to me every time I have that thought. I'm getting cured. Well, good. I'm glad you're getting cured, man. Jim Cole says, suddenly hope. Keep a book that contains your thoughts and good times you had with the kids while you're not with them. That is an excellent idea, Jim. I like that. Dated entry, when the time comes, give a copy to each kid. That's an interest. I like that. That's a good idea. And everything just scrolled down like it always does. That is so annoying. So I thought someone had a question. Let me look on this one. Okay, Kit Kat said, dear God. Kit Kat said earlier, Duane, explain this one. He's in France. Second day number 2 of the honeymoon. And guess what he's doing? Texting her. It doesn't end. It's crazy. These people they're not normal, and they do really bizarre things. And I feel sorry for his new wife. I mean, that's just Kit Kat. If you can go no contact, go no contact. If you can't go no contact, problem is if he's texting you, then you can't really turn your phone off. Block his number. I mean, just come up with a way to where that crap's not popping up, or you get another number and you leave that one on a different thing, and just don't look at it very often. That's frustrating. I'm sorry you're going through that. All right, I'm scrolling down, trying to figure out where in the world I was because everything moved around. Okay. Ooh, Wes says, I'm started working with some good lawyer and they got my back. She makes $200K a year and lives check to check. Well, that could potentially help you, because if she doesn't have a lot of money to pay an attorney, then maybe it won't create extra problems. I wonder if we can get over 60 viewers tonight. I was watching before I came this on, I was watching a different channel. It was one of those conspiracy channels. The dude had 2,100. 2,000, or wait a minute, was it 2,000 or was it 1,002? Either way, it was over 1,000 people on his live stream. How in the hell is that even possible? Oh my God. Anyways, all right. Oh, Mr. Man says, love the voice. Why, thank you, Mr. Man. I appreciate that. E says, if I can get myself off the canvas after the last knockout blow from my narc ex, combined with the economic horror I am up against in California, I hear you, buddy, I can do anything. That is true. But I don't know if I can do this. You absolutely can do this. You can do this. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. It's going to be harder than anything that you've ever dealt with, but you can do it, man. There's a boatload of people who've been there before you. A lot of them are on this channel. And I'm an example of that as well. This is a moment in time that will be tough, but it will not define you. It will not destroy the rest of your life. I mean, it can make it pretty damn feel like it, but you absolutely can get through this, man. I completely believe that. And oh, you have a question. So let me scroll back up before I do that. Okay, so suddenly Hope had said, Duane, how do I get my kids back when they are too old for the court to order visitation, but my husband is alienating them from me? They believe he is the victim because I left him. The ages are 23, 18, and 13. Well, suddenly Hope, the uh, the key part on that is you have to, one, establish some type of communication with them. And if they won't contact you at all, that makes it really tough. And you would have to do very simple things like reaching out to them just to let them know that you're thinking of them. The second part is whenever you, in my opinion, whenever you finally get an opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with them, you have a conversation where you validate their concerns, which means you allow them to basically tell you how bad you are and how you did everything wrong, and don't defend yourself, because as soon as you do, it turns it into an adversarial thing, right? So if the kids are coming and they're like, mighty below, well, okay, that's dating me from the old day whenever the rock'em sock'em robot thing. Anyways, you give them an opportunity to basically say, I'm mad at you because you ruined the marriage and you did this and you did that and daddy says this and daddy says that. And you say, okay, and you let them vent. You don't go, well, let me explain to you. And then you validate that they're feeling the way they're feeling. And then you kind of open it up and it's like, okay, but how do we go forward from here? As I punch myself with my microphone, how do we go forward from here, right? I mean, do we really want to live the rest of our lives where you hate me and we don't have this relationship? So how do we, what baby steps can we take to recover from this? What can I do, barring going back to your dad, what can we do to at least repair God darn it, looks like my signal just dropped. Repair the relationship that, you and I, meaning the kid, you and your children have, and build it that way. But you have to be incredibly careful, because what's going to happen is they're going to come in punching. They're going to be coming in ready for a fight. And if you fight back, if you go back and you're like, let me explain it to you, you're wrong, this is what happened, and you invalidate their feelings on what their perception of, or what they've been brainwashed to think the relationship is, you're going to lose. You will not be able to reach through to them. You have to allow them to have their moment, to have their say, to be able to say what they need to say, to get it out, and then not attack them, because they're going to be ready for you to do that. And then, and I mean, okay, and that also means do not try to guilt them, or do not try to say, what you're not going to want to do is say something along the lines of, I'm trying to think how to say that, but basically what I'm saying is guilting them or trying to make them feel bad, but like you wouldn't want to say, well, but how do you think this makes me feel? It's like, I miss my children. You don't go there, right? Give them that opportunity to vent. Let them validate that their feeling is a real feeling for them, and don't invalidate it by trying to make the reason why, the excuse for it, kind of like pause, like let that moment play out. So, there it goes. And dang it, everything scrolled around again. Everything scrolled. Now I'm trying to scroll back. Oh, I know. Okay, I'm going to have it speak this. Anahi Black says, I'm kind of scared. What happened if my next relationship is with another narc? I am an empath. Take your time. Work on yourself, Anahi Black. Let me come over here real quick. If you go over here to my resources page, if I can get to it, come on. This book was very helpful for me on rebuilding. I know it's called Rebuilding When Your Relationship Ends by Bruce Fisher and Roberto. Why did I say Jack? By Robert Alberti. Anyways, that book really helped me, because it walks through how to heal from a messed up relationship, and it helps you rebuild your build better boundaries, is what I was trying to say. And that's what you need to do. You need to give yourself time to heal. You need to work on your boundaries. You need to be okay with yourself. You need to be to where you're not, desperate to have somebody, that you're not looking for a new relationship, and you don't need validation externally. You can self-validate, and you can be at peace with yourself so that you don't need somebody else to do that. Here's the other thing, Anahi Black. If your your last narcissistic ex was overt, be very, 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 very cautious of covert narcissists, because what typically happens, and you bypass this, or you eliminate this potential, kind of, or you minimize the potential, if you work on yourself, because you won't get wrapped into it. But a covert narcissist will be the person that you always wanted to be. They will be the one that will listen to you. They will be the one that holds your hand. They will be the one that mirrors that love to you. But it's still an illusion. And it makes it really tough, because I've seen it so many times that somebody goes from an overt narcissistic, overtly abusive ex, and then they run into the arms of a covert and just get completely blown apart again, because they weren't expecting it. And when their mind is saying, oh, well, this person isn't publicly humiliating me. They're not over, they're not just saying, putting me down in front of people. They're not, throwing stuff at me. They're not doing all these different things. This other person is different. Well, yeah, they might be different, but they could still be a narcissist. You just have to still give yourself time and go slow with it. Take your time. Take your time before you do that. Uh-oh. What did I do? Oh, John Boss said, the voice is my narc, Duane. Exactly. I want 50%. I'm entitled. Oh, you know what, guys? There was a period of time where the word entitled would irritate me. I would have a PTSD freaking emotional flashback, really bad moment with that word. If someone says, well, I'm entitled to this, it would just irritate me. And then, wanting my half and stuff like, oh yeah, it was annoying. So, yeah. I know the law says that they are entitled to things, but there's entitlement, and then there's also what's realistic and what's fair, right? A narcissist will never play by fair rules. They will play by everything they can possibly get. Okay. He had asked, let me guys, if you want, let me try that again. If you want me to highlight a question, put question in front of it so that I can see it easier, and then I'll pull up this one. E says, because I have such a heck of a time saying that word, I'll play it again to see if I can. Ecclesiastes. See, I can say it when I hear it. Ecclesiastes 1:18 says, I'm sorry if you've already answered this, Duane, but was your ex really absorbed with social media during your marriage to her? No, actually, she wasn't. But hey, I'm a little bit older and she's older than me, so that could be a different thing. If you're in your early 30s or late 20s, then that could be more of a age type thing. Oh, wait a minute. Did Suddenly Hope have a question? Oh, no, I did. Okay, I answered that one, but she didn't put question in front of it. Okay, so let me go back over here. I appreciate the thumbs up, guys. That's really awesome. Thank you very much. So I did answer Suddenly Hope's question. Desiree is back on, says hi, or hey, glad to be tuning in. Love again. Thanks for hosting these awesome sessions. Why, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. Let's see. Cindy said, I'll agree. Since you put it as a question, I am going to put it here. And unfortunately, I am not going to know the answer to that question. But the question is, do you have to wait until my divorce to change my last name? Thanks. I don't. Okay, I don't know. My understanding is no, you can change your name whenever you want. You just have to go down and do it. You'd have to probably have a different, it's going to be easier if the divorce is final. But I think you could probably do it now. If anyone else knows, please put that in the, or answer that in the chat. I'll say comments below, but this is a live video. Let's see. Okay, so I missed a little bit what West had said. He had said to do it, you have to have hate in your heart and know that what you had made you miserable. That's true. It's there's a well, I was gonna say there's a possibility to do this without the hate. The problem is that even if you make the decision to leave before you get to the hate point, which is kind of what well, no, isn't kind of what I did. That is what I did. The problem is that whenever they switch everything around, then you get to the point that your hate just goes through the roof because of how vicious and nasty it is. Oh, Suddenly Hope says, "No, Cindy, your lawyer can do it right away." Yeah, I thought that was true. So let me. Okay, I'm a little behind, a few minutes, anyways. I just saw a question and it just like went bloop all the way to the top or all the way to the bottom. Where did that go? BB had a question, so let me grab this. And whoa. There we go. Ding, ding. And click. And BB says, DSD, can two people from divorces from these toxic people find one another and make a relationship work? Yeah, they can. When it feels as though trust and posturing may be an issue, although honesty is not. You just have to give it time, man. I mean, all of us are going to be gun shy on it. And I think that your best approach on this is to take it slow. You don't want to do anything fast. And you also want to make sure that your boundaries are respected and their boundaries are respected, and that you're able to allow time to take its course. The problem with a lot of these relationships, the toxic ones, is, and this is one thing that's an indicator of a problem, is they want it to happen fast, so they're pushing. They're pushing to move in. They're pushing to get married. They're pushing for an engagement. They're pushing for all that stuff, which, that doesn't, why? I mean, I get, because I fell into that trap to where it's like, man, I got to marry her. I mean, oh my God, what if she gets away? What if, how do we get to these points, right? Where you think, oh my God, this is the one. I mean, follow this logic. Follow this logic for a second. This is the one. I can't let them get away because this is the one. If they're the one, they can't get away, right? So take it slow. I mean, I'm laughing on that because I fell into that trap, and it's like, I mean, granted, I was 19 at the time, so I mean, that's my excuse. That's what I'm using. But really, take time, and if there's a problem with the time, then that's a high indicator of an issue. Now, I understand if somebody is wanting to have kids or that type of thing, and the time's clicking away. I get that, but if it's not, if it isn't right for what you want to do and what they want to do, then you're not the right people. So take the time to get to know the person. Take the time to let there be enough time for the mask to drop. Everybody, I mean, in any relationship, people are going to put on that facade to their best foot forward. All right. Okie dokie. Let's see here. Oh, man. Greg had said to BB, a guy from work met his current wife in the lawyer's office. Both spouses were cheats and have had multiple marriages. And that is a train wreck waiting to happen. Divorce, what is it, 50% divorce rate on first marriages, and second marriages is even higher. And if you add people who meet each other from cheating and stuff like that, that's a disaster waiting to happen. Not to say that they can't make it work, not to say that two people's dysfunction can't just match up and be a cesspool paradise, but yeah. Anyways, let me see here. Okay, Jim had said, another way to say that, Duane, is okay, now we know who to blame. Let's move forward. Oh, there you go. That's a good point. Desiree said, what did Desiree say? Boyfriend's narc ex acts like he's negligent when the kids return to her. She takes kids to the doctor almost every week for no reason. And there's a reason. There's two reasons. One reason probably is to collect the to add more money that your boyfriend has to pay. And the second reason is to try to establish that, he's doing something wrong and making him sick in her own mind. That's what she's probably doing. And acts like he's not being a proper caretaker. Absolutely, yeah. Kids, fine with us, help. You're going to have to ignore it, or if it gets to a significant point and you have the resources, you take it back to court and ask and use that as a pattern of behavior to demonstrate that something's not right and it's damaging for the kids. And that would be your course of action. More than likely, because I imagine you probably don't have a boatload of money. Well, the other caveat on this is you could go back to court and represent yourself and open Pandora's box that way. So that's also an option. But if the money's an issue and the court are going to court, even representing yourself, isn't something you really want to do, that's when let me come over here. That's when you come over and you review in my Mindset for Narcissistic Abuse Recovery playlist, this black hole thinking video. I don't know why I just snipped in the microphone. Sorry about that. But anyways, a black hole thinking video where it talks about how to deal with that. It's an older video. I mean, you can the lighting camera's a little bit different, but the message is still appropriate. So check that out if you haven't done that. And maybe it will help you on that. All right, let's see. Cindy. Okay. Ooh, yeah. Cindy says her narc is our lawyer is a narc, unfortunately. Yeah, the only way that's potentially positive is if you can get them to do what they need to do for you, and and they don't turn it on you. But more than likely, they will at some point turn it on you, just because that's the way things happen to go. Next question is from Nahi Black. So I'm kind of scared. I'm an empath, and my ex-narc was my first and only. No contact. What happens if my next relationship is with another narc? Any red flags I can notice in the first date? Yeah, see, there's other channels who've done that. I'm trying to remember if Angie Atkinson, if you haven't, let me see. Well, okay, hold on. Chrome. I did an interview with her, but this is who I'm talking about, Angie Atkinson. Just do a search on YouTube for Angie Atkinson. And I know she's made some videos about that. But bottom line is, you just, it's like, see, there's nuances to it, right? Because the one thing I would say is, if you go with a person and they're only talking about themselves and it's me, and did I tell you about me, and then look at my nice shiny me thing that I got because I'm so me, right? That's a bad sign, okay? I mean, there's a balance, right? However, conversely, if it's like, oh, tell me everything about you. Oh, really? Oh, and see, this is what's going on in that situation. See, I have props this time. Is they go like this, and they open up their book and like, oh, you like long walks on the beach. Oh, look at this. Okay, and you had a bad family, and your dad was mean to you. Okay, not, and they're taking all these notes and not really saying anything. Going, See, the problem is that it can look like, oh, wow, this person is really listening to me. They're really interested in me. You want it to be a back and forth, right? I would also say, do not share everything in your life like I did, like an idiot, back when I met my ex-wife, or met my wife. Give things time. You don't have to give them your entire story right off the bat. Obviously you're going to have chit chat. You're going to talk about things that are, that you're interested in, and superficial type stuff, and maybe get into different little issues, but allow things some time to take place. And Anahi Black, listen to your gut, because I believe that every one of us, even the men who like to not pay attention to their intuition, will have a time where they're like, what? This is kind of weird. I don't, but you ignore it. I know I did. I was like, ooh, well, that's kind of bizarre, but she's so pretty and she's giving me attention. It's okay. Those fangs, you just push those fangs right back up. They're not really there. I know I'm trying to be a little silly, but my point is give yourself time, right? Be open to, or be open to yourself, or listen to yourself. So whenever something's like, man, this doesn't sound right, or this is too good to be true, just pay attention to it and pace yourself. And Anahi Black, please, please, please take time. I don't know if you've said how much, how long the relationship has been or when it's ended. Give yourself time, and time is not a month. And let me throw this out here. Do not listen to your friends that say, Anahi Black, you just need to go out and date. No, you don't. You need to give yourself time to heal. They're trying to be helpful. Your friends, when they give you that type of advice, they're trying to be helpful. But when you've been in an emotionally abusive relationship, overt or covertly, you need time to heal. Give yourself that time. You owe it to yourself. You're worth it to give yourself that time. And Mr. Mann says, take care of yourself, people. Absolutely, Mr. Mann. You are absolutely correct on that. I know I'm getting a little behind. Let me try to scroll down on these things. Oh, Odessa is on. Hey, Odessa says, you have to make friends with loneliness, and it can be done. Yes, that's kind of a brutal way to say that, but you're right. You learn, here's the thing, and I went through this too. When I first got out, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be alone forever. There were times where I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to meet anybody again. I'm never going to meet anybody that as good as her. That was the best. I walked away. I blew it. I threw it away. I can't believe I did this. It's never, I'm never going to meet anybody. No one, who's going to want to date me? What was I? 46, 40, what the hell? How long has it been? 42, 40. I'm like in my 40s. I have gray, I have 3 kids, I'm overweight. I was more overweight then. We all can enjoy the divorce diet. And I'm like, man, no one's ever going to want me. And I was freaked out by it. And it just creates more stress and trauma. But after a while, I got, not complacent, that's not the right word. I got comfortable being by myself. And I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'll meet somebody. I will. And I don't know where it's going to be. It's going to be exciting. And I got excited about it. I'm like, ooh, someday I'll meet somebody. I don't care if it's tomorrow or if it's 2 years from now, because I like my life. I'm enjoying my time with my kids. I like my house that I may have to move out of. I didn't have to move out of back then. But anyways, all of that stuff. And the weird part is like a month later, I met Debbie, and I've been dating her for, oh crap, I'm missing it. 5 years? Almost 5 years? Huh, I'll have to double check. I think it's 5. Is it? Whatever. It's in a couple of weeks. Will be our dating, a date-iversary. Anyways, my point is that I actually got to the point that I enjoyed having my alone time. I've talked about this in the past. I enjoy going to, I'll go to lunch and I'll go by myself. I'll take my phone so I have something to read. I don't know why I'm trying to grab my book again, but, and I'll read the news or comments from you guys, and I'll sit there and I'll have my lunch and enjoy my quiet time by myself. And I'll tell you that there was a period of time where I did not enjoy that, and it gave me an anxiety attack, and it was not fun. So you can get there. You can get there. So Odessa is correct. Wow, I really kind of railed on that one for a bit. Ooh, wow. Anahi Black says, thank you so much. Greetings from Greek Cyprus. That is awesome. I am trying to. He was my first and only, and I didn't have experience. 8 years, my friend. He was somatic. Oh, man. Hey, Anahi Black, let me, my wife was the first person I really fell in love with. And it was a 21-year relationship, and my whole world was wrapped around her. And it hurts like hell whenever that connection dies and you realize it wasn't real and it was an illusion, and the love that you had for them, they could not ever pay you back with or compliment you with, because they don't have the ability to do it. Okay, let's see. Ooh, Stephanie, hey, Stephanie Dove says, overts are safer. I actually would agree with you on that, because it's in your face, right? I mean, you still can stay with an overt for a long time. You can still, burn a hell of a lot of time. But something's wrong, and most of the time during it, your friends and potentially family are saying, does he always treat you like that? Or does she always treat you like that? I mean, so you're also getting that external validation. Coverts, on the other hand, destroy you from within, and most of the time, no one sees it, and they think, "Oh my God, he's such a great person. I never thought that, I never thought you guys had problems." Shit, I had people say that to me. I mean, they thought she was a nut, but they thought that that our relationship was good. Suddenly Hope says, "So true, Odessa. Friends with Jesus is the only way I manage." That is awesome. I'm glad you have that to help you through that. The sad part is some people, though, their church family, which, I mean, you're not necessarily talking about church, but if you have that support group, sometimes they will side with the ex, and then you lose, you lose your support group, you lose your faith in your religion can be questioned, and it can really create problems. But I think Odessa says spirituality of all kinds helps a lot. Yes, I would absolutely agree with that. Stephanie says covert, more dangerous, like Scott Peterson. Yeah, there is. I've kind of stayed away from. Scott Peterson. I was thinking Chris Watts, Scott Peterson. That's the cop one, right? That's the one that every one of his wives just happened to die. And then, or disappear. And right after they disappear, it's like, "Hey, Bill, I got to move this 55-gallon drum from my house that's sealed. Could you come over and help me load that in the truck and drive it out someplace and get rid of it?" If I remember correctly, yeah, that was brilliant. So, anyways. See, guys, and Stephanie brings up an interesting point. You have to be, thanks, Denise, for subscribing. If you're on the live stream, welcome to the show. Hopefully you don't mind that we're just highlighted in the live stream. My point is, though, is that, okay, let me get back to my point. My point is, when you're learning about this stuff, be very careful, because you can be like, "Oh, I know what they are. They're a covert narcissist, and they're just self-absorbed and whatever." Give yourself time to figure out what type you're dealing with. Because if you are dealing with a sociopath or a psychopath, antisocial personality disorder, or anything on the higher end of the spectrum, that is a hell of a lot more dangerous. And then you have these people who completely can disassociate with reality and, put their exes in drums and stuff. I mean, so be careful, guys. I was watching, let me see if I can pull this up. Have you guys heard about the Lovejoy person? Lovejoy Joy San Diego. Let's see. This chick is just brilliant. So this is, what's her name? It's Carlsbad woman, Diana Lovejoy, for attempted murder on her ex-husband. False allegations. In this, what initially happened is and that's what I'm talking about, right? I mean, you could think, okay, well, it's just a narcissist. They're just a narcissist, and they create drama and chaos. But sometimes they go the extra mile. And actually, I remember there was a documentary I watched on this. I don't know why I'm pointing at the screen. You guys can't. Anyways, whatever. Where she was, the prosecutor was saying this lady was vicious. And whenever she passed out, if you look it up, you'll find, she passed out when they did the sentencing. Not the sentencing, when they convicted her. And basically had to be wheeled out. And the prosecutor was like, "I don't even believe it. I think it was an act." And she convinced this other guy, this Marine, the former Marine gun instructor, I wonder if there's a picture of him, this guy right here, to basically try to murder her ex-husband, or soon-to-be ex, primarily because the judge was like, false allegations. She had said he molested her. He was molesting their 3-year-old son. I mean, just running this guy through the effing ringer. They investigated it. They did all, they did CPS, everything. And they're like, this guy's actually more stable than she is, And with that, they were going to award him 50-50 custody, and they wanted her to pay, in the summer of 2016, after a long legal battle, Lovejoy on Mulville Hill, which is the ex-husband, had come to an agreement. They would share custody with their then 3-year-old son, and Lovejoy would pay Multaville, the guy, 120 grand for his part in the house so she could stay in the house. And her solution to that was to have, where is it? Have, let me scroll back up here. Have this gentleman right here shoot him in the chest. And luckily he survived. Lured him into a trap with information to help him with his custody battle and tried to murder him. And he got 200 years to life, and she got 27 years to life. I mean, it's just, okay, I know I went off on a tangent on that, but my point is, guys, be careful. I'm not saying you have to be completely paranoid about your ex and what they can do, but don't be naive about it either. Okay, not everybody is going to go through that situation. I mean, that obviously is one of those outliers, but it's something to keep, just to be aware of. Ecclesi E, God, why do I have such a problem with that? E says, I lost about 2 decades of my life to my covert narc. Why was I not warned or educated that there was such horrid pastoral deviance in the world? That is an excellent question, E, and same thing, because part of it is that you don't believe it, until you've been through it. I mean, I think in some ways you do know bad people out there. I mean, we all know it, but you don't think that the person that you've dedicated your life to is that person. I mean, I lost mine was 2 decades too. And I mean, I just thank God that every one of you guys who's made it out, whether you were discarded and thrown out like a piece of trash, or you finally said, enough is enough, I tapped the mat, I'm done, I can't do this anymore, that you at least got out. It's painful and hurts more than anything you can ever imagine, but you're out. And if you spend the time to work on yourself, to where you're not susceptible to this again, you have a much better life ahead of you. I think no matter what, you have a much better life. All right, I hope you guys don't mind that I went off on that tangent. West we go. Says, question, Duane, when are you going to start your singles page? Yeah, I won't be doing that. That's funny, though. Okay. Oh, man, why does it? All right, I'm going to just go down to the bottom. Jody Ayr is a good example. Annie, hey, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. I don't think I've seen your name before, so welcome. Yeah, Jody Ayr, Chris Watts, all psychopaths, absolutely. Lori Choppinger, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. Says, my covert narc's entitlement. I cannot take it anymore. Disappearing for days at a time, then won't leave. Our 10-year-old is falling apart. I cannot get him to leave. Well, Lori, more than likely in that situation. See, here's the thing, guys. There is a part of the manosphere that tells men, do not leave the house if you're going through a divorce. And in some ways, it's good advice for on the custody side of things, because if you're living there and they do if you go to court and it's like, okay, temporary orders, where are the kids? Well, the kids are at home. Well, where do you live? I live at home. Oh, okay. So what do you deal with? How do you deal with child support, right? So that's why they're saying do that, right? So that way you're not sitting there trying to fight for more time. You fight for your time right from the beginning, and then when the divorce is final, you do that. I personally, my worry about that, one, sorry, Lori, you're going through that. But the second part is that if, let's say you were the narcissist and, or you know what, never mind. Let's just say it's the way it is. And, let me back up. What I'm trying to say is, if you put yourself in a situation where that person has the ability to set a trap for you, you can get yourself in big trouble, right? All that has to happen is some form of physical violence or the threat of physical violence, and somebody is probably going to jail, and if not, is going to be escorted and forced to leave. So I think it's a dangerous game. Part of my thing is, and I actually almost ended up in that situation, because there wasn't enough money. Everything was expensive, and I'm like, oh crap, I can't afford to leave, which I did. But I remember my brother, who's a cop, he told me one time, he goes, "You're an idiot if you're going to serve her with separation paperwork and stay in that house, because if I get called over there, and there is so much as a slight mark that I could be construed maybe as a physical mark, you're going to jail, and then you're dealing with a family court issue and a criminal issue." So, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of men's group things where they're saying stay there. I personally wouldn't recommend it. If somebody was telling me that, hey, I'm dealing with a narcissistic ex, should I stay or should I go? I would say GTFO and make sure you're protected so that you don't get yourself into a bind. Let's see. John Boston says, Duane, everyone who I talked to says the same thing. They say, I know she was bad, but never thought she would be so bad and call the police and sue you for divorce. Yeah, and see, Lori, I think, was it Lori? Scroll down. Where'd it go? Lori. Yeah. See, Lori, that is the typical wife move, is to basically do the order of protection route and go that route. I mean, I appreciate the fact that you're that obviously hasn't even entered your mind. So, and I wish you could leave. I mean, is there a way, Lori, that you could just say, okay, fine, I'm taking my 4-year-old, or was it my 4-year-old? I have to scroll back up because my memory's going. 10-year-old, sorry, your 10-year-old is falling apart, and just go. If you have family or friends you can move in, or if you do the I'm gonna go see mom or dad. And did you say he's a drug addict as well? Let's see. He's with a known junkie. His daughter's age. Oh, E says Duluth model. Yeah, that's true too. That does typically help women out. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I would, if you can't get him to leave, I mean, I would never recommend somebody, well, just, go, do the restraining order, leave, I mean, if he does something that is restraining order worthy, because that is the case, then obviously do that. But excuse me, I would leave. He says statistics on domestic violence are almost even between the sexes, but I'm not going to read that. Oh, but the law, I'll say it this way, dictates that if anyone calls, a husband has to go to jail. It's a pretty darn good chance. It doesn't always happen that way. I've heard of both going to jail, and I've heard that but see, this is the thing. If you're dealing with a narcissistic ex that's willing to play these type of games, and you don't think that way, and they call and they're saying one thing and you're not saying one thing, and then they could turn around and go, okay, well, this person has a mark. I got a mark. See, I mean, if where is it? God dang it! Trying to twist my arm. If you can see that, jeez, that was just stupid. My point is that if I had a fresh mark and came over and said, my ex, she grabbed my arm and hit and cut me with her fingernail, she's going to jail, right? Unless there's a mark on her too. Anyways, you're a substance abuse calendar. One of my ex's clients? Oh, that's just spectacular. See, and Glory says CPS was called, but he manipulated him. That's the other thing. If they're smart enough to understand what's going on and play the system, that's why I get really nervous when people are like, there should be, dedicated laws for narcissists and they don't get custody, whatever. My fear on that is a lot of these they're really fast thinkers. They know how to manipulate things. And what happens to the unsuspecting, non-narcissistic, probably empathic ex who's had their buttons pushed so much that they're so tense that they're reacting in ways that's out of character, and they're able to manipulate the system, and you're now labeled as the abuser, and you are in deep trouble. So that's why a lot of times, hey, if you can get a mental evaluation where they can look at it, but just don't be surprised if they pass it, if it doesn't come back and say that. Sometimes they get caught, right? There are some people on the channel who do have actual diagnosis, is that they were diagnosed from it. And more than likely, it's probably because the person with the disorder didn't understand how significant it wasn't realizing the long-term game, and allowed it to happen, and then it's too late, right? I mean, that's the best case scenario. Oh, Odessa says a lot of police officers are corrupt too. They have to meet quotas. Unfortunately, there is some truth to that comment. John Boston says, Duane, explain ex parte. Ex parte is what they do. Ex parte is whenever you're going in, kind of as an emergency. You go in. I actually tried that on the to get the court. It's where you go in and you're like, hey, this is such a critical issue. I need the judge to give an order right now to stop something happen. I don't remember what ex parte. Let me actually look it up. See, if Alex was on, if he wasn't leaving us alone, then we would. What does part? Where'd it go? Okay, let me pull this up. Ex parte says, with respect to or an interest of one side only and of an interested outside party. So what it means is, okay, so all right, I already read that. So like I was saying, ex parte matters are usually hearings. I'll look over here. That way I can look more at the camera. Are usually temporary orders like a restraining order or temporary custody pending a formal hearing or an emergency request for a continuance. So what it is it's like you go in and you're like, oh my God, they're dangerous and I need a TRO. I need a temporary restraining order. And they go, okay, you've given up enough. You seem scared enough, so we'll allow it to happen. I tried to use that in my situation for the retirement money because they were going to issue her a boatload of cash. And I was afraid that if they did that, it would be gone. And I would, whenever it finally said, oh yeah, that was a mistake. You owe money back, that it would be nearly impossible to get it. The judge said no. They said, wow. Sometimes I do this little dance and I go, I'll say AC. They'd be like, AC, AC, AC. You can input the different letters that might go along with that. But what did happen in that situation is I did have a future hearing, and my attorney was able to send that to the retirement people, and they did freeze everything. So, but that's why a lot of times a temporary restraining order will get granted, just because it's like, okay, we're going to err on the side of caution. Let's bring everybody in, see what happens, and go there. Which means if you do get that, there is a chance that it's going to get overturned, so just be careful. But if you make mistakes during that period of time, if you do something that would make a judge think there's some validity in this argument, then you're hosed. And there's a few people on the channel who have had that happen to them, both men and women. This isn't just a guy thing. Okay, Annie has a question, so let me grab that. Oh man, God, I wish I didn't have to go to work tomorrow. Annie says, can you please give your advice? My ex just suddenly started to see our child for the first time in months, again asking child if I have cash at home, what jewelry I wear, if I got a new TV. Wow. How old are your kids, Annie? And unfortunately, see, and that could be for a couple of different reasons. Excuse me. That could be because they're trying to figure out the court thing and to find out what you're doing and how you're doing money-wise. Either way, it's fishing for information. Annie, if you are 9 years old, doing that to a 9-year-old, God, man, that sucks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry your kid's going through that. What I would say is tell your 9-year-old, is it a boy or a girl? I would say, honey, just tell you're talking about your dad, right? Is it the dad or the mom that's doing that? Let's see. Give me my ex. Okay, you said ex, child. Okay, so I'm not sure. And when I asked, okay, so your ex is a girl. Okay. Or your child's a girl. So she also tapped child's phone, her dad. Well, technically, if it's tapping the child's phone, you know what? Technically, any you could do a like he's basically stalking, right? You absolutely could get a court order to say knock it off. You're not supposed to be doing that with the kids. I got that. I mean, my ex was saying you're talking to the kids too much, and you're telling guys. I was ordered not to tell my kids anything, so I couldn't even tell them we were getting a divorce. They found out when we had the custody evaluation, and the therapist, the evaluator was like, "Okay, guys, well, your mommy and daddy is getting a divorce," and they're like, "What?" When we left that, they're bawling in the front and the outside. I'm like, "What happened?" And that's what happened. I mean, but I couldn't. I was ordered. If you say anything, if you talk about the court case or you talk about anything that's going on, you're going down, Mister. So. Anyways, my point is, Annie, is that if you are in the midst of a court battle, you should be able to get that reiterated and added at least into your temporary orders. And if he's tapped the child's phone, that is not cool. She saw on his phone that he has access to her pictures, videos she took with the phone he gave her a long time ago. It also tells him where she uses the phone. Yeah, if it's an iPhone and he has the account, it'll all come up. Geez, for a while there, I was using my daughter's little iPad mini, and it would blip, 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 blip. Every time she would get a text, it would freaking go off. I had to like delete her account because it was driving me up the wall. But yeah, that's the only bet. Hey guys, and I'm just to throw that out there. If you have iPhone type, and I don't know about Samsung, but I know on iPhone, if you have an iPhone and your ex has access to your account, unless you turn on two-party authentication, change your passwords and stuff. If they have an old iPhone or an iPad or a computer with your account, they will see everything you're doing and be able to see where your devices are. So if you have that, make sure that you change the passwords, you clear the accounts out so that they don't have access to it. It's some old phone. Okay, so and he says, no, it's some old phone of his, but I can't believe he is trying to track her or me. Oh no, he just put the phone on her, or he's trying to give it to her like, hey, use this phone. Yeah. Are you still in court? Let me see. Let me see if you answered that. And John had said, Duane, what they do is they file an ex parte order, and then the attorney takes the order to a district court, not probate, because there is a 99% chance they will get the restraining order. Yeah, if they know how to manipulate the system. A lot of times you're going to get I just saw E says can't wear a body cam in California, two-party consent state. You know, you might be able to like do a GoPro or something or record. Now, not to say that I did this, but I may have heard of people recording everything in California because they were scared to death that if something happened, they figured they would risk the consent charge as opposed to a domestic violence or an assault charge. And if you, and if you basically walk up with a video camera and say, hey, I'm recording, I guess if they say no, you have a problem. But again, let me clarify. Let me just say on that though, make sure that if you are going to record somebody, that if it is, that you know what your laws are. If it's a two-party consent state, make sure you follow those rules, right? If you are not legally authorized to record phone conversations, then do not record phone conversations, or do what you're supposed to do. Like in California, it's like, hey, I'm going to record this phone call for our own protection, right? But if they say no, then you have an issue there. All right, let me scroll back, and then we'll wrap this up here in a little bit. John says, Duane, and he says, I wonder if he has a spy app on her phone. What kind of phone is it, Annie? What do I think? Based on the questions he asked your child, you know what? And I appreciate the fact that you said our child. Thank you for that. Yes, he gave her his old phone. He's probably trying to see how you're doing money-wise. He's probably trying to see if you have someone else in the house so that if he can try to adjust support. Probably he's doing it is to try to gather information. And it just depends on what it's for. I mean, I know early on I was obsessed with what the ex was doing because I was trying to figure out what he was doing. Oh, it's a Motorola. Huh. Um, does it have, and he may have just, wow, that's interesting. I'm actually surprised. Oh, wait a minute. It's a Motorola. You're talking about, I'm thinking like a flip phone. Is it a Droid or one of the smartphones? No, he didn't ask about a boyfriend. Where are you guys at in your court stuff, if you don't mind me asking? And Shay says, being arrested didn't worry soon to be ex. He knew his mom would rescue him and, of course, blame me. Even for things not domestic, DUI, etc. She's gone now. He's on his own. Yes, but an old. Okay, see, I don't know about the droid thing, but there probably is a way to track it. You know what, Annie? It could just be so. Wow, divorced since 2011. And he's just doing this now? Huh. I'm assuming he pays child support. Does he pay alimony? Because what he might be doing is he might be trying to see how you're doing money-wise to try to decide if he should take you back for a reduction. Well, yeah. And see, here's the problem. And okay, just for people who are listening, and he says he's not allowed to ask these questions, but he still does. And he is owing child support. Okay. So the problem when people violate court orders, our only recourse is to take them back to court for contempt. You're not going to be able to call a cop and say, Mr. Policeman, he's asking questions that are against the court order. Civil matter, ma'am. Take it back to court. He's showing up where he's not supposed to. I mean, unless there's a restraining order, then you could probably go to jail for that. And he's owing child support. He's probably doing it to try to figure out what you have so he can try to get an adjustment. Would be my guess, especially after this amount of time. So, I mean, I do periodically, hey guys, your mom, how's the job search going, right? Every once in a while, which I know I shouldn't, but part of it is just, it's almost because, the kids used to think mommy is going to get a job. She went to school so she can work. Like, I'm like, no, she didn't. I don't say that to them, but it's like, yeah, okay. They're starting to finally realize, wow, this doesn't make sense. Mommy hasn't worked for 6 years. And she's been out of school for over a year. Yeah, okay, so he's fishing for information to try to use against you in court. That's all. So not to downplay that, because that explains why he's sitting there fishing for information. He's trying to get it readjusted. We are in the process of trying to have family court hear our case, but you are brought it to the next court. Yeah, so that's what he's doing. He's trying to see what you have, whether you're making more money, be able to say, well, she's doing it. It's not going to matter. I mean, it will matter a little bit, but, and Annie, if you're not, okay, if I don't remember what state you're in, there's a possibility that if it's been a long time and, you don't have a job or you're underemployed, that they could turn around and they could impute your wages saying, okay, all right, well, we're going to pretend you make minimum wage and we're going to lower it as if you had a minimum wage job. So, all right. So, and he says, that's what I was also thinking. He may ask to see if I have a lot of money, but after he asked when I leave in the morning about cash in the house, I was worried he may plan to break in. Okay. All right. Here's the thing. You're going to know, Annie, who your ex is and whether that is a legitimate option, right? So, I'll defer to that because who the person, what kind of person he is. There's serious consequences for that. So unless you have $900,000, well, even then it's not really worth it. But it's probably just to see how much money you have to try to say, she's lying. She's lying about not, she's making $100,000 a year, but she says she's only making 25. That could be, that's probably more than likely what's going on with that would be my guess. Oh, and West We Go says, does he have any prior burglary charges? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you know that he is a thief and this is something that he would do, then that could be a legitimate concern. And if that is a legitimate concern, I would recommend you get an alarm system with cameras so that if he does, you have access to it and he will go to jail. and Wes says, still hide your stuff. Yeah, that's pretty funny. All right. And he says, I'm poor, but he thinks in his sick mind that I have some imaginary money. Only arrested for assault. And I'm assuming that was the assault was towards you or someone else. And you already have an alarm system. Good for you. Good going. I bought the Simply Safe system, which is probably a good thing because if I have to move, at least it'll be easier for me to move. God, I don't want to move. You guys are going to have to help me make my channel grow so that I can afford to pay for my new rent. Oh my God. Yeah, assault on me and police officers. Okay. Yeah, I mean, and that's, and that was, I'm assuming that was a long time ago, probably at the beginning of this. No other incident, so it's probably not that. Oh, well, I would assume it's all probably interrelated. So, but yeah, it sounds to me I mean, and this is just going off of a gut assumption is that you're in the middle of a court battle. He's trying to get information to be able to say that you're making more money, and that's what it's about. I'm sorry your 9-year-old is going through that. It sucks, but it is what it is. Okay, you filed divorce. Okay, so it was all back then. All right. Okay, guys, let me was there any other questions I missed? And I appreciate everyone being, I mean, the numbers bumped up tonight. We actually got up to 80. And I don't think we had a moderator on tonight. So I appreciate everyone being really awesome tonight and hanging out. And Nahi Black had another question. Let me pull this up. It says, question, first of all, you are amazing. You really help. Yeah, okay. You said, wait a minute. I'm just going to read this. First of all, you are amazing. You really help us so much. Like I said, my ex-narc was a guy I was first with. Will I ever get over the illusion of the perfect relationships we had? They are all 6. It is, okay, in all honesty, Anahi, if you're still here, it is going to take a while. It is going to take a while. And a while could be a couple of years. Even with a lot of work on yourself, but it's not going to, see, the thing is you're going to realize after a while that it was an illusion and that it's real to you, but it wasn't a real relationship. And unfortunately, some narcissists are so in tune and will use sexual relations to really get that bond with somebody so that they can maintain the control over them. I'm really sorry that you went through that. That's really tough. Okay, let me scroll back down to the bottom. Cindy, would I miss something? Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Seriously? Well, hold on. What did I miss? What did I miss? Come on, guys, be nice. Please don't tell me that I just... Paying for... Oh, come on, guys. All right. Be nice to... Hey, knock that crap off. God, I wasn't being... I was seriously thinking that everything was going well. So if I'm reading this wrong, but come on, do not be calling people names in this chat. I will boot anybody who does that. Normally we do have... supposed to be... See, guys, all right. So money is a really tough issue, okay? And it's a flashpoint for a lot of people. It was a flashpoint for me. Do not get into a discussion about the right and wrong of this because it goes nowhere. The reality of it is child support, once you give it to the other person, it can be used for anything, and not a dime of it has to be spent on what you think it should be spent on. It's really annoying, but it is what it is, and so just don't even get into those conversations. I mean, don't even go there. Yeah. So, okay. All right. I'm just going to, if I see any more of that, I'll start booting people. So, all right. All right. All right. God dang it. I'm bummed. You guys bummed me out. And he says the support was always spent when I got it on the kid. Well, because some people don't do it. My mom didn't do it. She used it to buy her own clothes, subsidize what she was doing. I mean, it's, whatever. I mean, whatever. All right. Blue says, don't be, Duane, it wasn't that bad. Thank you, Blue. I appreciate that. Greg says, but if you're paying CS, child support, you don't have to pay for kids extra because it's a gift. Yeah. Unless it's court ordered, right? I mean, technically in my situation, there's support, and the only other thing that's shared is medical expenses. So anything else? I mean, if I want to send my kids to the, which I didn't because I couldn't have the money, but like, the Washington, D.C. trip, there's no, unless you have it written in, there's no sharing of costs on that. I would have to pay the whole thing. West says, I thought CS has to be spent on the child. Nope, that is not true, West. It doesn't matter. It can go, it does, yeah, it's not for the kids. Okay, Cindy had a question. Where's your question, Cindy? Let me roll back up because let's end this on a high note. All right, Cindy, what did you, oh, there it is. All right, let me grab that. Oh, man, I'm getting freaking stressed me out on that one. Cindy says, question, does the narc X have the right to tell the kids to leave the cell phones at his place when they go out, even though the cell phone is mine? That's the only way the kids can talk to me. Yeah, he has a right to do that. He can do whatever he wants. Hell, he could, when they walk in the door, he could say, give me the phones, and put them in the drawer. Take the batteries out and throw them in a drawer, or whatever. I mean, it's his house. He can do whatever he wants. The same thing. If he sends over to computer and you don't want a computer there, you can not let the kids use it. It's a triangulation. And this, okay, Cindy, the flip side to this is what I would say on this. Let's say your ex was on the channel and said, hey, Duane, my ex got my kids' cell phones. They're too young, right? Because that's what most people say. They're too young to have cell phones. I don't want those in my house. And she's interfering with my time with the kids. And anybody who's been on this channel for a while knows, I would say, don't take the bait. Do not get in the middle of that and make it an issue, because that is a move to triangulate you with the kids. But so normally it's not asked, because that's normally the way I get asked it. But on what you're saying, Cindy, he can do whatever he wants, right? And he's the one who's going to have to pay the consequence with the kids on it. And, I see the thing is I gave my kids cell phones, and I wanted them to have iPods so I could try to contact them. And as I've told you guys in the past, they wouldn't, not for the beginning. They would come over and walk in and they would grab their phones and blip, 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 the entire time, Hey guys, who are you texting? Mommy. Wow. Hey, you only get to see me for a couple hours before I take you back over there. Yeah, but I'm telling her about something, whatever. I mean, anyways, unfortunately, Cindy, you can't do anything about it unless it's in a court order that says it. So, it's a bummer. But here's the thing, it just whatever. I mean, technically, thank you, Transpersonal Hypnosis says, thank you for all you do. Thanks for the super chat. Anyways, keep up the great work and brilliant community you've made. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the super chat. It really does help, especially when I'm going to have this new rent crap I have to deal with. Anyway, Cindy, so, I mean, just don't let it get to you, right? I mean, just you got the phones for the kids. And here's the thing. If he takes them, and now this sucks, but if he, grabs the phones, won't let them have them when they're going out or whatever, then call his number and say, hey, Bill, can I talk to the kids? And at some point he's either, and just do it that way. I personally went the phone route because I didn't want to talk to her. There's a few times, probably in the last 5, 6. Well, see, technically, the kids are all older now and they all have phones that I'm paying for, by the way. But there have been a couple times where I would ping the ex, text her or something, and say, could you please have one of the kids call me? And when I do that, she would be like, oh, sure. Wes says, question, Duane, would you want to create a website of compassionate lawyers who'd want to help instead of run the usual money grab? Yeah, that would be great though, but I don't know how I wouldn't know how to, cull that together. I mean, God, you're talking every area has, there's probably 50 to 100 attorneys just in my local town, and it's a small area. Oh, so Cindy says, I do no contact with him. Cindy, this actually could be because of that, because you won't contact him and you're using those devices to go around him. He could be playing that because that, trying to force it. What I would, Cindy, how old are your kids again, Cindy? I know it's been a while since I've asked. Oh, Wes says just an idea to smooth things out. Yeah, it would be a good idea. It'd be nice to know who we could actually trust. And he says, by the way, Duane, thanks for the advice. I feel a bit more at ease. Good. It's going to take a while. You're not alone. A lot of people, men and women, have gone through exactly what you're going through, and it does get better. It just takes time. 12 and 9. Okay. Shoot. See, what I would say on that thing is, okay, so either email him. You probably don't want to text him. He's probably pushing it. Okay. Honestly, what I would say at 12 and 9, just, when the kids are with them, if the kids don't call you, they don't call you, and just let it go. That's pretty much what I decided to do, because I did not want to be, and I know where you're at, right? Because you don't want to be in a situation to where you're constantly chasing around, begging the ex to respond to you, right? And if you do need to see the kids, then you text him or email him. And the thing is, if you email him, he'll ignore it. He won't answer. And more than likely. Okay, Brett says, good question. Suggest that to my attorney. Seems we all could use a team. Oh, I missed that one. But, Desiree says, boyfriends. Did I already read this one? Oh, no, I did read that. Did I scroll back too much? Oh, let me grab this one. This might be the last one. And thanks again, Transpersonal Hypnosis, for the super chat. I really do appreciate that. It's still up on my screen so I can see that. I hate it when I do it that way. Come on, click out. Desiree says, boyfriend's ex acts like he's negligent when the kids return to her. I could have sworn I answered this one. She takes the kids to the doctor almost every week with no reason and acts like he's not being a proper caretaker. Didn't I answer that, or am I having a glitch in the matrix moment? Unless my signal died. Anyways, Desiree, what I thought I had said earlier on that is, document it. It's standard BS to try to show that you guys, that he's bad and not taking care of things. Okay, I did answer it earlier. All right. Okay, she reposts. Oh, I'm sorry you missed that, Desiree. I spent time on that. Yeah. It's, when the replay comes back up, you can see. That's just weird because I even think I put it up on the screen. So sorry you missed that. But hey guys, when I answered that, it went out live, right? So it did get recorded, so it's still there, right? Because I don't necessarily want to go through the whole thing again. Wes says, Duane, what did you do last night for New Year's? I went to, we watched the ball drop for New York. And then Debbie was working on some video resume stuff, so she overtook the set. I went and laid down. We woke up when people started shooting guns outside, or she was already awake. I didn't do much. I'm not a big New Year's stay up late party type. Oh, JS, this is a great comment. JS says, unfortunately, it's been my experience so far, 3.5 years going through the divorce, that the family court sees both parties as difficult. Remember, I live in California. Well, California does have guns. Um, so, yeah, anyways, back to what JS was saying. Yeah, see, that's the thing, guys. You got to be really careful because they are going to be the family court's going to be primed that everyone's playing games. So you almost have to be, not almost, you have to be on your best behavior and be trying to come across as a reasonable type. Because if you're not, and if they think both of you are being knuckleheads, you're not going to get anywhere. And it's tough because it's really tough not to fall in that trap and start being reactive. A good example of that, not example, but a good, if you guys have not, let me come back over here. If you, Chrome. Excuse me, if you go down to the expert interview section and you, this interview with Cordell, Joe Cordell from Cordell, he talks about how to approach that when you're making an argument with the judge. And it's like, you have to basically I want, the other parent to have a relationship with the kids. It's important. And not have it look adversarial, because if it looks like you're just being an ass and they're being an ass, and they're not going to believe either one of you, and they're going to be like, okay, both of you are knuckleheads, and neither one of you will have, let me try that again. Neither one of you will have credibility on that. So if you're, who is asked that? Oh, JS had talked about that. So yeah, anybody who's curious about that, I'm pointing again, watch that video right there, the one right there, because he had a lot of great information on that. So, all right, guys, I think that is about it for me, because I am getting tired and my back's kind of hurting. Divorce Papa says it was recorded. Okay, so cool. So since this hasn't been 2 hours, this should be, if I turn the DVR on, you should be able to go back and do that. Actually, let me see if I can. Let me try something here. If I take this and I paste this in the chat, the Desiree who missed that, you should be able to click that link, because I think it'll still work once the show's over, and it'll allow you to scroll back, and you should be able to watch it before. Otherwise, it'll drop out. It'll take about an hour for it to process, and then it will come back. All right, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys had an outstanding New Year's. Hey, and Desiree, if you want another question, send me an email and I can answer it in a standalone video. But guys, let's start out this new year on a strong note and, recapture our lives. Really make this a good one. I'm looking for. I was looking forward to it a little bit more before yesterday, but I still think it's gonna be okay. So on that, have a great rest of your evening, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Take care.